All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and citations to the Akim out there, spreading this truth like wildfire, in all truthfulness and in all sincerity. And shalom to the rest of the hopeful elect out there. Alright, got this article from the Daily Mail. Brother posted a screenshot of it. Democratic Representative Barbara Lee calls for a $50 minimum wage in California. Claims residents can't get by on 104,000 a year. The federal minimum wage is 77.25 an hour. The California minimum wage is $16 an hour. She doubled down. Rep Lee is running in a competitive race for the U.S. Senate in California. She doubled down on the need for a $50 minimum wage during the debate. Democratic Congresswoman Barbara Lee is defending her call for a $50 federal minimum wage. Federal minimum wage at that. That's more than 6 times the current federal minimum wage in the United States. Lee is running in a competitive Senate race to fill the seat of late Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein. She argues Californians cannot get by on less than $100,000 Salakia, due to the state's cost of living crisis. Lee was asked during the Senate debate on Monday how her $50 an hour minimum wage proposal would be economically sustainable for small businesses. She claims she has been a small business owner who created thousands of jobs and argued employees needed to be taken care of and to have a quote-unquote living wage. Just do the math, Lee said during the debate. The current national minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. The California minimum wage is $16 an hour. Quote unquote, in the Bay Area, I believe it was the United Way came out with a report that very recently $127,000 for a family of 4 is just barely enough to get by, Lee said. Another survey very recently 104,000 for a family of 1 barely enough to get by. While Lee acknowledged some calls to raise the federal rate minimum wage to 20 or 25 hours, she said she has to be focused on what Californians need and what is considered affordable in her state. Lee currently represents California's 12th district, which includes Oakland and Berkeley, and has been a member of the House since 1998. She's in a crowded race for the U.S. Senate that includes fellow Democratic lawmakers Adam Schiff and Katie Porter, as well as Republican former professional basketball player Steve Garvey. Schiff and Porter have both signaled support for a minimum wage to between 20 and 25 an hour. Garvey said during the debate the minimum wage is where it should be. The federal minimum wage has not budged since 2009, despite increases to the cost of living. Democrats in Washington have been trying to, and that's due to the inflation when you look into it. But Democrats in Washington have been trying to boost the federal minimum wage for years, but have been unsuccessful in their efforts. The closest they came in recent years was in 2021 when Democrats tried to include gradually raising the minimum wage to 15 an hour as part of their what it says, relief legislation, but their attempts were blocked by Republicans and some moderate Democrats. President Biden has called for Congress to raise the 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 federal minimum wage to $15 an hour, but efforts to raise it so far have been blocked. The president's effort to raise the minimum wage for U.S. contract workers has also faced legal hurdles. Senator Bernie Sanders introduced legislation raising the minimum wage to 17 an hour in 2023. Even though $15 minimum wage is not considered a living wage, some studies have found. Researchers at MIT calculated the living wage in the United States was $25 an hour, or 104,000 in Slovakia and 77. Uh, yeah, $104,000 and 77 before taxes for a family of four in 2022. According data from the U.S. Census Bureau, the median household income is just over $74,000. I keep doing that, Salakia. It's $74,000. In California, the median household income is more than $91,000, but salaries in the state varies greatly city to city. The median household income in San Francisco is more than $136,000, while the median household income in San Bernardino County is just over $77,000, census data shows. These call for a massive boost in the federal minimum wage. Comes as the U.S. has seen soaring prices over the past several years coming out of the pandemic. While inflation has eased since peaking at 9.1% in 2022, prices remained up nearly across the board. That's for their numbers. That's from their numbers. We know, those who know it's like it's been getting worse. Prices remain up nearly across the board, including for housing and food. Yeah, that's right. Opponents to raising the minimum wage, including some Republican lawmakers, have raised concerns doing so would further fuel inflation. While multiple polls have found the majority of Americans support raising the minimum wage, Pew found 62% of U.S. adults support raising the minimum wage to 15, even though among those who oppose raising the minimum wage to 15 an hour, a majority agree it should be increased, but that the standard should be less than 15. But hey, what it's gonna lead to, real talk, is you think these corporations are gonna just cut back because the minimum wage is higher than it was before? You think they're gonna stop paying their executives bonuses? Nah, man. They're gonna increase the prices of shit. They're gonna increase the prices of shit. And the small businesses, they ain't, they ain't, Salakia, let me mute this. Alright. So, anyways, do you think they're gonna give up giving bonuses to their executives and shit? Nah, man. They're gonna increase the prices of shit, which is gonna lead to more crime because the prices are up. The prices are up. And even if they was to put price controls, right? What end up happening is they would just what they would do is they would eventually institute automation, man. Or they would hire less people, man. They would hire less people. And Guess who would get cut out of the deal? Who would get hired less? You know, you Jakes would get hired less. They'd hire less people in general, but you Jakes would be the most affected by it. And then they would end up replacing everybody with robots. You know, and you know which don't gotta get paid, right? Obviously. So we're not ignorant to Satan's devices. This is what these devils been trying to do. You know, this is what they've been trying to do. And hey, you know, hey, this would give them an excuse to move to automation, man, as a solution. 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11. And then put everybody on UBI. That's you know, they'll put it on your chip, you know, eventually. But you have to understand these devils, they deliberately create these crises so that they can bring the solution. It's called problem reaction solution. They took the US dollar off the gold standard for a reason. They took it off the gold standard for a reason. You know, and they continue to print large amounts of money for a reason. You know, because they want to purposely inflate the dollar, you know, fuck the economy up to bring in the new world order, which would include UBI, you know, put on your RFID, put on your chip, man. Yeah, you know what I'm saying, the MOTB, and you know, everything is automated. You know, and also they want to get rid of most of y'all. So first there is, before they bring it, there's gonna be, you're gonna see the results. If they end up implementing this nationwide, you're gonna see the results of that, and it's gonna be way higher inflation. It's gonna be way higher inflation. The prices are gonna go up on everything, and yeah, man, prices are gonna go up on everything. You won't be able to afford shit because the companies are gonna raise prices on everything to compensate for the losses created by the national minimum wage being raised. So I'm gonna get 2 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. No, we're not ignorant of his devices. We're not ignorant of anything in the great matter or small. Ecclesiastes or Sirach chapter 5 verse 15. Be not ignorant of anything in the great matter or small. You know, be not ignorant of anything. You know, if they was to implement this type of shit, you know, a lot of these small businesses would also go broke as well. These small businesses would go broke, and you know, the larger businesses that could survive, that have the money, they'll raise prices on everything. They'll raise prices on everything and be sky high, and the cost of living will just go up back to compensate for the rise in the minimum wage. So, you know, and we know these devils eventually have, you know, they have a plan to bring about that famine. They could bring it about that way. Fewer workers, Fewer workers. The scriptures also say something about that. The doors shutting in the streets because of how few the workers are. And they're mainly gonna shut the doors are mainly gonna be shutting in the streets where you Jakes live. Mainly in the hoods, the barrios, the ghettos, the majority Jake cities, which is almost every city in Babylon. It's majority Jake. But they're gonna, a lot of them are majority Northern Kingdom. A lot of cities, especially here in Texas, if it's nationwide, I mean, as well as in California. But if it's nationwide, it's gonna affect the whole country, man. Really, you should say countrywide, because the U.S. is a country, not a nation. But let me get that. A nation is different to nationality. It's a family, ultimately, descending from one man, such as the Israelites descended from what man named Israel? Really, it's Yasharallah, and the whole nation is called what? Yasharallah, named after that man. And then you have individual tribes, such as the tribe of Judah, named after who? Judah, for example, and other tribes and nations. But anyways, let me get Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Verse 4, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, when the sound of the grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. Yeah, man. The keepers of the house are gonna tremble, man. And they're already trembling. And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Verse 4, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, when the sound of the grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters' music shall be brought low. And also, you think that gas prices are high now? You think that prices for eggs are high now? They're gonna be sky high. They're gonna be sky high. And it's gonna be just as hard to pay for them, to pay for that, because of the prices of gas, man. So there's gonna be a crisis. This should get introduced, and it could be introduced. There's gonna be a crisis, and then like an inflation crisis, right? You have prices go up way high because of what I mentioned earlier. And then you have crime go up. As a result of that, you have crime go up. They ain't going to be able to afford it. And a lot of you Jakes are going to lose your jobs, man. A lot of you Jakes are going to lose your jobs. So you're going to be out there. You ain't going to be able to pay your rent. A lot of y'all homeless. A lot of y'all going to be homeless. And, hey, man. A lot of y'all is going to turn to crime, man. As well as these homeless ass Edomites, man. As well as them. It's like, damn scammers calling me. A lot of a lot of these homeless Edomites is one. You have a lot of them in California. You have a lot of homeless Edomites. As you Edomites, hey, Deuteronomy 7 is coming for that ass, so you don't know, y'all getting a taste of the curses. Deuteronomy 30 and 7. And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. You know, what you've seen is just the beginning of that. Let me get back to where I was, though. And, you know, since there's less workers, a lot of these businesses are going to shut down. You know, and all the business that they was getting as well, it's going to go to these larger businesses, these large corporations that are going to be the only ones that are going to be able to afford it. Imagine, yeah, especially if they was to raise it to 50, but even to 25. You know, it's going to cripple a lot of these small businesses. They're going to go out of business. Then what? You're going to have to... Because they're going to have to raise prices even more, and no one's going to go there. And the workers, they're going to have to pay a whole lot. So nobody's going to work there. You know, I can see only... If this is implemented, I could see only the multinational corporations, these big corporations really surviving this. You know, and even I can see this leading to them just automating everything. Okay, we don't have to pay no workers because everything is being done by these robots, or pay very few of them because most of the work is being done by these robots. And what's that going to lead to? UBI. And the government, you know, eventually, you know, getting people hooked on UBI, by getting people hooked on UBI, you know, which means universal basic income for those of y'all that don't know. They can get the people to then receive this. They can cause the people to receive this. We're not ignorant. Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, poor and free, poor, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. You know, the word there for mark is charagma. Which goes, you know, look up the definition of that. It's different than the word for... It has a different meaning than the word for mark. And where it says to mark them that sigh and cry for all the abominations. It's a different word there, and it has a different meaning in the Greek. And it goes into the RFID chip. We break it down, breaks down to karax, and which goes into how, you know, the instrument that would be used to inject it in you, you know, how it would look like, you know, showing you that that's what it is, man. And then when you break down tri-side stigma, which is the word there for 600 three scoring six, when you go into stigma, it means it goes into sticking something in you, basically. When you look into it, it is the RFID chip, despite what the naysayers are saying. But yeah, verse 16, and he causeth all, which to prepare is one of the meanings there. Is one of the meanings there. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. There's also the agenda to bring about a CBDC, which, the dollar could actually crash from the shit I was talking about before. It could crash from all that pressure. Let me get that. Zephaniah 1 and 10. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that there shall be a noise of a cry from the fish gate, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. Verse 11, how ye inhabitants of Mektesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off. You know, it could result in the crash of the dollar, which is going to happen anyways. It's just that it could happen this way. Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark and the name of the beast or the number of his name. Also, most people are going to be getting the UBI, going to be hooked on it. It could happen, and it could happen this way. Verse 18, here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 603 score and six. Damn God here. So this is one way that, the market of, what, can come about. And, there are many ways. This is one way. They all lead to one destination. All these ways. But with that, I hope this video was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah, Quadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. And peace and salutations to the Akim out there, spreading this truth like wildfire in all truthfulness and in all sincerity. And shalom to the rest of the hopeful elect out there. Shalom, stay strong, abad babal. Abad la'adawamium. Abad babal, death to Babylon. Abad la'adawamium, death to these Edomites. Abad la'gawayim, death to these other nations. Abad la'ayabim nawa, death to our enemies. The rest of our enemies being 2/3 of you so-called black people, Latinos, Native Americans, as well as 2/3 of the Israelite foreigners, aka, speckled birds, aka speckled birds, living here in Babylon, in the land of our captivity, as well as death to the rest of you Israelites living outside Babylon who are wicked and who won't repent. It's also coming to y'all. Shalom, stay strong, Ababa Ball, Wah, Yasharala forever. Shalom.